Welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, went to the doctor the other day, told you guys about all that, and evidently, best guess, because yes, modern medicine is all about guessing, it seems like maybe it's just a reflux issue, so on a new medication, we'll see how that works out. Alright, let's read some stories. How about a positive story to break the monotony? So as you guys might recall, I'm a typewriter service technician. In this day and age, the number one typewriter in business and professional use is the IBM Selectric, a beast of a machine that's essentially a 6-bit mechanical computer. Wild stuff, so of course I service it. I had an elderly lady bring in her Selectric 2 a while back. It hadn't been serviced in 15 years and was having some trouble printing. It was the usual job, nothing out of the ordinary, just needed a good clean and relube along with a couple adjustments and replacement parts. The crown on the story is the phone call I got a week later. Ordinarily, phone calls are bad news. Something broke again, someone isn't happy, or perhaps it exploded catastrophically. Not this time. She was calling me to thank me for my work, and that her machine had never worked better. It was honestly really touching that she took the extra time to call me up. There aren't a lot of techs around anymore, and therefore not much of a benchmark for service success. So it was a huge boost in confidence and moral. So it was a huge boost in confidence and morale to get that call. Her next service was mysteriously paid for. Well, considering she's still using a typewriter, if this is a private owner, I'm guessing she's in a slightly older generational persuasion, if I had to guess. My age or older. The type of person that might still actually write a letter to somebody instead of just shooting them a quick text or an email. But good for you, man. It's always good to get some accolades and gives a little boost to your confidence. One person cost over 20 million euro nobody notices as time goes by. I worked within a government department and a particular IT job was tendered for. As with such contract, public or private, they lack an amazing amount of information. So you quote a price way above what is mentioned as it's a pig in a poke. The company I'm working with is an awarded contract. They were a good company and they could do the job. Except there was one issue. The overall project manager was not experienced in IT projects, as in no experience. Due to government policies within the civil service, she had been promoted and somehow temporarily promoted again for this role. Her supervisor was retiring within a few years and this plays a part. I had met her a few years earlier and mentioned she was a bit odd and unstable from my interactions to a senior manager, so I said make sure you get her to write it down as she accused people of editing notes in the past. Noticeable issue I had seen with her interactions with others. Anyway, she's in charge. The plan is shown to her and she complains about the coloring more so than anything else. I'm just sitting in the back amazed this is what 20 plus people listen to for 30 minutes of color complaints. She agrees on loads of firm dates by the end of the meeting. Many of which mean she's going to be really busy because every firm date has a clause of their deliverables. One manager thinks this is great, but myself and another manager say we are doomed. She has no ability to deliver what she promised, so our deadlines are useless. Basically, retiring manager warns her, we warn her, other PMs and her sister, also a PM, etc. She goes ahead. A month to her first deadline, we ask, how is it going? Hasn't started. Point out the 2-month plan to do it. Claims she will throw people at it. 2 weeks later, hasn't started. A week later, no start. 2 days beforehand, it's delayed by a week, blah blah blah. 6 months later, we get it. Parts of project continue, but we are already 6 months behind. All goes on in a similar fashion. So 2 years late with the project that was estimated at 1 year, 3 years total. We don't think it's ready, but the press section already announced its arrival. Goes live, no major teething problems like it failing over, but the rates look a little high. After 2 days, a month's worth of normal payments have gone out. Major flag waving and PM says it's just the backlog of suspended payment during the transfer, and we say that it's way more than expected. She says ignore it. 4 months payment out in a week. We warn her again and she says to ignore. We can't. We contact her boss's boss and he nearly has a heart attack. Pause payment and see major flaw and look up issue and report on said flaw from 2 months earlier. End of the day, so much money went out in so many diverse ways it was going to be very costly to recover. So it was just written off. There was a public inquiry about why they paid so much for software rewrite and delays. The report took so long to come out, and it was a busy news week, so ignored. In overpayments, she cost at least $20 million and $6 million in IT, which people were more upset about for a moment, and never told about the overpayment issue. She left that department and was promoted into another government department. I will say she wasn't totally to blame, but certainly the cause. Basically, every support she was given got so annoyed with her they said, "Go ahead and do what you think is right then." Somebody should have told her no, but it was just easier not to bother her, and her retiring boss was sort of key. People complained and warned, but he didn't care. Seeing your tax money wasted is upsetting, but hearing friends complain about how you are paid too much and overcharge the government for work when you do knowing the facts can be grating. There's a reason a lot of governmental contracts and departments and whatever have the stereotypical reputation that they do. Because there is a lot of waste in getting those contracts, seeing them through, people that don't care about their jobs but can't be fired for some magical reason, and promotions, that's the quickest way to get rid of somebody. Just promote them up and out of the way. Amazing. What worked? This is not IT support tale, or rather it wasn't supposed to be. People. Me, area leader, person responsible for an area / group of departments. Report person, person responsible for the generation of the reports. I started in an office position and still have a few jobs from that time. From me, BCC 30 plus people, there are unapproved reports for your area. From area leader to me, how am I supposed to approve an empty report? Sad face. Well, that happens every time an area gets renamed or restructured. And there was a restructure plan so large that I was informed about it in advance. Let me just check the report and then inform report person. From me to area leader, did you look through the whole report? Because the first 22 lines are 0. From area leader to me, that worked, thanks. I can't help but wonder, what worked? Looking? Scrolling? Bonus, I talked to report person and mentioned it in passing. Apparently not only did she know, but she and at least one more person had been trying to find out what and why that had been renamed about area. Yeah, don't leave people hanging, man. What worked? If they gave you like 3 different ideas, then, at least fill them in on what actually was the problem. And if they knew about it ahead of time, why didn't they ask questions? I'm confused. I smell smoke. Call IT. I work for an MSP and this just happened to us here. CAST. SC equals Service Coordinator. OM Client Office Manager. SS Summer Student at my office. FF Firefighters. There were 3 total, but I'm treating them as 1. Me equals me. SC gets a call from one of our clients while I was on the phone with someone else. I hear little snippets of the conversation and I get distracted. OM. We smell smoke. We think our server's on fire. SC. Hang on. You said that you smell smoke and you called us? Please call the fire department. Me. We'll go there when he's available and assess what might need to be replaced. I hear a bit of this and I get off the phone as quickly as I can. SC confirms what I heard. I throw on my coat and tell SS to come with me. As I drive to the site, I hear sirens behind me, but they were far enough that I couldn't see their lights, so I kept on driving to the site. I'm telling SS on the way that this office doesn't have a server. All that they have is a network rack, as the server is at a different site, which we visited a few hours earlier. My office is a little closer than the fire department and got there first and head in. I'm sniffing as I'm heading down the hall towards their network rack. SS is looking at me funny. I can smell something, but not the usual magic blue smoke of burning electronics. It does smell electrical. I immediately head to their network rack and can't see anything strange. The smell is definitely coming from somewhere in the area. No smoke or visible flames, so I check all the devices and nothing seems to be warmer than usual or looking funny. I found nothing, so I start looking around to try to find anything that could be emitting the smell. Firefighter arrives at this point and is holding a thermal camera. He's sweeping around everywhere and can definitely smell the smell. He went up and down the network rack with the camera and sees no strange thermal readings. We open the door to the rear exit of the building, which is next to the rack, and the smell got worse. That's when we see one set of fluorescent lights completely off and half of another set that's flickering badly. We all searched through all the breaker panels and couldn't find one to shut off those lights. OM calls the landlord and they have no clue if anyone is able to come. With the holiday on Monday here in Canada, many do take extra holidays. Firefighter gets told. He goes up the ladder, disconnects the bulbs, removes the ballast cover, and sees that it's starting to melt. He cuts the power to both lights and instructs OM to call the landlord once again to have someone here ASAP. I confirmed with OM that no network equipment was damaged. I drove back to my office having a good laugh with SS, and with SC once we got back to the office and reported what was found. Okay, first things first. If you smell something burning, call the fire department first. Then once you're out of the building, call landlord, call your bosses, call whoever, but don't call tech support. That should be like the last person you call because all they can do is recovery and cleanup. Second thing, you don't need a breaker panel to turn off. Hey. Okay, I am going to leave this in the video. That was Ani Reddit back there falling asleep. Sounding like a buzzsaw behind me while I'm trying to record an episode here. Anyway, next point in that office is you don't need a breaker panel to cut off the fluorescent lights. I guarantee you there's a light switch around somewhere that'll cut power. Yes, there will still be power to the light switch, but the problem was up in the fixture itself, so that does cut power right there. Oh well, what are you going to do? There's always that caller. Caller, hi tech support, how are you doing? Me, great, thanks. Just tell me what's wrong. Caller, how's the little one doing? Me, doing well. Please tell me what's wrong. Caller, terrible weather we're having, isn't it? Me, awful. For the love of God, I could have fixed it by now if you told me the issue. Caller, I bought a new car yesterday, did you see it? Me, no. Ugh, we're gonna be here a while. Caller, 5.2 liter V8 engine goes like stink. Should I wax it now or wait a week? Me, whatever you feels best. Come on and tell me your bloody issue. Caller, fair enough. It should be alright as long as I don't park under the trees. Me, yes, anyway, what's your issue? Finally got a word in edgeways. Caller, yeah, can I get my password reset? Me, sure, it's XYZ123. It'll ask you to change it on login. Caller, great, thanks for that. Have you got any plans for the week? Oh, F off. I find myself throughout pretty much every minute of every day having that internal dialogue with myself. Every time someone asks me a weird question, although sometimes it's not so internal, I find that a lot of times now that I've passed the age of 50, my inside voice tends to come out when it's not supposed to. But that's alright. Filters are for wimps. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed these stories, and if you did, do me a favor. Would you consider giving this video a like? Maybe subscribe to the channel, and click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya!